Hello, everybody. I'm Alison Pitt. Welcome to the daily, weekly Star Trek news today thing that we're doing. It's lovely to see you all. I can already see a couple people in the chat, which is wonderful. Now, forgive me today. As I talked about last week, I'm changing around some of the setup and things like that and trying to find something that works kind of for everybody. So if I'm looking down today, that's because I brought my computer down here. Can I quickly have a little you guys can hear me okay, right? Sandy, we will talk about my shirt later. Yeah, so okay, right, what do we got going on here today? So if you guys thank you, Zach. If you guys were here last week, you will know that this is sort of, I'm building a new show, doing like a weekly version of the old Daily Star Trek News show. Unlike the older stream where I did a lot of I did reviews and I did a lot more like opinion stuff, we're actually going to be putting part of this show out as the podcast. So I'll be covering a little bit more news and, but we're going to do some fun stuff at the beginning and at the end. So we're going to do my favorite part is showing off all my Star Trek stuff. So we are going to do a Star Trek show and tell at the beginning. At the end, I hope you'll stay to the end. I hope you've seen that I've put a poll in the chat. Everybody leave me a comment, and then we'll talk about it at the end, because one of the big stories this week, of course, was the announcement of the new Borg Queen for Star Trek Picard Season 2. So yeah, hi, welcome. I'm glad to see everybody here. There's some familiar faces in there, which is great. Marina, Anne, Sandy, Zach, Christoph. Oh, David made it. Everybody say hi to David. Well, and Marina too. Right. Okay, let's get started with a little bit of show and tell. Now, if you have not watched the live stream before, I like to do a little show and tell because over the years I've accumulated lots of stuff and I love Star Trek stuff. I'm sure that you guys have lots of Star Trek stuff as well. If you have any Star Trek stuff, like weird and wonderful things that you want to show off, I would love for you to show them to me. You know, take a picture, tweet it at me. I would love to see it because what I find is that Star Trek fans like accumulate weird stuff from weird places, and they always have some kind of interesting story or love for it. Anyway, my item today is my Star Trek lunchbox. This is it. It's not like vintage or anything, and in fact, you can get it at a lot of places. If you just look for it, you can find it. I don't use mine for my lunch. I work from home most of the time, so I don't. What I do have is a lot of stationery supplies. My washi tape is in there. I actually got this as a gift from my wonderful Uncle Dave. It was for a birthday or for Christmas or something. And it was, I was very much an adult when he sent that to me. And I love it so much. It's exactly perfect. And I probably have shown off my journal to you guys at some point in the past, but I keep a bullet journal. And so every month I go through and I make my new bullet journal pages and I get out my Star Trek lunchbox full of all of my stationery. And it's just it makes me happy every time I use it. So that's one of those special things. And I just wanted to sort of share that with you guys. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. Let's see. So, yay, dead air. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've done our little intro thing. I've said hello to a couple people. I'm going to go ahead and do the show part of the show. And then at the end, make sure you've voted in that poll and let's have a little discussion about the Borg Queen. It's going to be fun. We've already talked about this. So we have a Discord server. For those of you who are Patreon supporters, we have a Discord server that you can get into if you're a Patreon supporter. And that's where we do all of our coordination for all of the blog posts and the shows. We already had this discussion a little earlier this week about about our feelings on the Borg Queen. And I was actually surprised. A lot of people agreed with me. So I'm curious to see those of you who are in the chat, whether any of you agree with me too. So anyway, let's get on with it. Okay. So welcome to this week's Daily Star Trek News. Today is Saturday, September 4th, 2021. Coming up on the show today, we've got a new title sequence from Star Trek Prodigy that was just dropped. There's a new huge casting announcement for Star Trek Picard. It's very exciting. We've got a new sneak peek from the upcoming Star Trek Voyager documentary, To the Journey. And in some science news, Tim Russ is helping NASA detect asteroids. That's pretty cool. My name is Alison Pitt. If you don't know me, hi. This show is supported by Patreon supporters like you. You can find out more about that and add your support at patreon.com/daily Star Trek news. All right, so let's get started. So the big first news this week that dropped, and I got really, really excited about it, was the main title sequence and theme music for Star Trek Prodigy is now available for you to watch in all of its amazing and gorgeous glory. So this was debuted on Tuesday at the Television Critics Association. They're doing a virtual summer press tour that they do every year. They showed the video for the opening sequence, which I presume is the opening sequence before they've added in like credits and things like that. But the score is done by Michael Giacchino, who's also done the score for Star Trek Discovery. I'm getting him confused with Jeff Russo, sorry. So Michael Giacchino has done previous Star Trek work in the past. And here's what he said about the new theme. I'm excited that I had the opportunity to write the main theme for Kevin and Dan's latest project. That's Kevin and Dan Hageman, the Hageman brothers, they're the producers. As always, I am thrilled to be a part of the Star Trek family. And then he went on to praise fellow composer Nami Malumed, who is the first female composer in the franchise. Apparently, she's doing scoring the episodes for Star Trek Prodigy, which is really great. And another, of course, groundbreaking moment for the Star Trek franchise. Now, I wish that I could show this to you. I don't quite have the technology yet, but if you are listening to this on the podcast, or if you're watching this on the YouTube back, I'll drop a link in our show notes. Go and watch the main title sequence because it so far is everything that I personally had hoped for with Star Trek Prodigy. So of course, it's an animated series like Star Trek Lower Decks, but the style of animation is a totally different thing. And it's the type of animation where you can get really, really creative with your environments and your action. And it absolutely does not disappoint. It's just a feast for the eyes. Lots of really rich colors, jewel tones, and some like... So there's not a lot of action going on, but if you can picture a cross between the Star Trek opening, like we're talking classic TNG starships flying through space. It's that crossed with the old style James Bond openers. So you basically have got the USS Protostar, which is of course the ship in Star Trek Prodigy. It's flying through space. Kind of over and through and around these like gigantic versions of the main characters that you already recognize. So Rock Talk and even Janeway. And they're just completely just... it's a feast for the eyes. And of course, at the very, very end, it's got that little familiar Star Trek chime. I personally am the most excited about this show of any of the current series in development. I'm not ashamed to say that, and I'm looking forward to when that premieres. Which brings me on to when will it premiere? Well, we still haven't had an actual premiere date, but some eagle-eyed people have noticed that on IMDb, theoretically, it's listed as October 21st of this year. Now, before you get too excited, IMDb is user submitted, so that's not like an official, it's not necessarily an official declaration from Viacom CBS or Paramount Plus, but as we've talked about before on this show, that is a pretty likely time for it to debut, because that will be just after Lower Decks ended, and it'll give it just enough time to finish just before Christmas, and then we can get on to Star Trek Discovery, which all three of those series have been promised for 2021. So it's the time that makes the most sense. I haven't personally seen the official announcement yet, but we'll see. Speaking of new series in production, we had actually had a really big casting announcement for Star Trek Picard Season 2. And if you have avoided hearing about this, I envy you because it has been absolutely everywhere. So Deadline.com confirmed that a woman called Annie Wershing, I believe is her last name. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. She is an actor who has been in shows like Timeless, Vampire Diaries, and yeah, she is joining the cast of Star Trek Picard Season 2 as the Borg Queen. Now, we know that that Picard has had a complicated relationship with the Borg in the past, over all of the series and also the movies. So this is a really interesting development in what might be the plot for that series. Now, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not actually interested in speculating, but it's kind of a big deal for Star Trek fans to have her coming back. Deadline actually confirms that she will be recurring in that role. So along with John Delancey as Q, we've got some really big heavy hitters from Picard's past coming to visit him in Season 2. Now, again, eagle-eyed fans, and there are quite a few of them on the internet, recalled that in the early teaser for Star Trek Picard Season 2, and I can't remember when this one came out. The second one came out in June. It was in April. I apologize. It was in April. It was the one where you've got a voiceover from Picard, and it's going through his study and lingering on artifacts, from the past. And there was one lingering shot of the Queen of Hearts on a chessboard, and it slowly sort of dissolved into the air. I'm pretty sure at the time people mentioned, is that symbolic of the Borg Queen, or was it just a callback with Data's chess game from, with his the poker game from last season? But certainly, they've been hinting about this for quite a while, and it's exciting to kind of be getting more information as we go. So to sum up, we now know that there's going to be Q is recurring, the Borg Queen is recurring, and Season 2 of Star Trek Picard, which is not due out until 2022, is going to be a really interesting ride. All right, so shifting from new stuff back to old stuff, if you guys will cast your mind back to a few months ago, the Star Trek Voyager documentary To the Journey broke records left and right in its fundraising campaign. I don't have, let me see if I've got the numbers in front of me. Okay. Yeah. A record-breaking $1.3 million raised through Indiegogo. And by the way, you can still contribute. I'll come on to that at the end. They released a video on YouTube this past week that was all the behind the scenes footage, and it's a teaser, and it will get you ready and excited for the upcoming documentary. So this was a 3-minute preview. It was actually shown first at 55 Year Mission, aka STLV in Vegas. It's basically a real showing their behind the scenes, because in documentaries like this, they sit people down in a studio and talk to them about the show. And so it's footage from the studio that they were working in, and all of the stars coming in to sit down and talk. And it was wonderful. It was all the people that you know from Voyager. Robert Beltran was there. Then you've got people from other series that were there as well. And then you've got other people like Dr. Erin MacDonald came in to say a few words. And it's wonderful to see it get excited about who's going to be in the documentary. But beyond that, it's just sort of a teaser, right? There's not really anything else they're talking about. But it's wonderful to watch, especially if you are a backer of the show. If you haven't already seen it, you'll want to have a look at it and see how they're doing. So they've already done a lot of that footage, and the director, David Zapponi, says he made sure to promise that, of course, there'll be more than just talking heads in there. He has said, "I'm looking for the infamous blooper reel. We're looking everywhere for that." So there's a lot more information. Trekmovie.com is the one that put this together and pointed us towards that video. Please go and watch it. Please go and read the Trekmovie.com report and let us know what you think about the journey. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can still contribute to that documentary if you want to make sure that you get to contribute in a little way to its success. If you head to voyagerdocumentary.com, you can find out more about that. All right, so I'm going to come on to our sort of science news this week, Tim Russ and his asteroid discovery in just a moment. But I did want to just quickly mention there is a reason that I am wearing a t-shirt that says Dixon Hill Private Investigations. Now, if you're listening to this on the podcast, obviously you can't see it, but you'll have to trust me that it's awesome. I'm a huge fan of t-shirts and other things that are like in universe. This is just one of about a billion Star Trek related designs that you can get on tpublic.com. And the reason I'm doing this weekend is because they're having a Labor Day sale. Now, I know TeePublic has a sale like every 2 weeks, but now is a great time. I think it's up to, I can never remember, I think it's up to 38% off. They're all slightly different. But of course, Daily Star Trek News has curated a store. I've done that personally. I've picked out the designs that I think are really cool. But if you go through there, you can look at any of the designs on the site. They're an affiliate partner of ours. So if you buy t-shirts, having gone through our affiliate link, that helps us out on the show as well. So you can find out more at dailystartreknews.com/tpublic. That's TEE public. Daily Star Trek News /tpublic. Go and check it out. I am 100% positive that you will find something you like. We've actually got a couple of original designs in there as well, done by the wonderful Carl Huber, and they're all about Star Trek 4, the one with the whales. See if you can figure out which ones they are. Anyway, go check it out. Once again, yeah, dailystartreknews.com/tpublic. It's a really great site, and they've got deals on now for the Labor Day weekend, so go and check it out. Right, so a little bit of science news, and this was so wonderful. So I just want to say that I love Tim Russ. I follow him on Twitter, and he can sometimes be a little grumpy, and it's wonderful. I don't know, apparently that's a thing that I like. He's very active on Twitter, but he's also an amateur scientist. So this came out last weekend. Let's see, Tim Russ and 5 other citizen astronomers were recently credited with aiding NASA in the detection of an asteroid called Patroclus, that I'm very certain to be mispronouncing that, but it's one of the Trojan asteroids that's orbiting the planet Jupiter. And it was identified as part of an upcoming mission that's called Lucy. And I have a statement from the NASA website describing what Lucy is. They said, no other space mission in history has been launched to as many different destinations and independent orbits around our sun. Lucy will show us for the first time the diversity of the primordial bodies that built the planets. Lucy's discoveries will open new insights into the origin of our Earth and ourselves. And that mission is expected to last for 12 years. So what is Tim Russ doing with all of this? Because he doesn't work for NASA. However, he is a 29-year member of the Los Angeles Astronomical Society and has worked with outreach programs at Griffith Observatory in LA in the past. And it sort of started out as a hobby for him and has now become a thing that he does. So the reason all of this came to be is that he's a member of the Unistellar Global Network of Citizen Astronomers, and they work in partnership with SETI to make observations in space and deep space. Now, This is not something that just Star Trek stars can do. And I know that there are other opportunities, and unfortunately I don't have a list here, but I know that there are plenty of opportunities if you are somebody who's interested in astronomy. Lots of crowdsourcing opportunities for you to help NASA and other organizations look at the night sky and make sense of what we see there. So I would highly encourage you, if Tim Russ can do it, anybody can do it. And it's very cool. So that article was covered in usatoday.com. If you look for that, you can also read more about the Lucy mission at nasa.gov. Very cool. Right, so that's all of the news this week in Daily Star Trek News. Thank you so much for listening. And just a reminder that if you are listening to this as the podcast, you should come and join us on YouTube for extra chat and fun, including my favorite part, which is show and tell. And we have some other discussion about the news of the week as well. Now, remember, you can find all of these stories, including the ones I've covered on the show, but also lots more on our website at dailystartreknews.com. And if you're missing the Daily Fix, then please, I would encourage you to sign up for the Daily Star Trek newsletter. It's still running every day. And you can sign up for that at dailystartreknews.com/contact. You won't miss anything. All right. Anyway, thank you again for listening. This show is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and it's written by Chris Peterson, Marina Kravchuk, Jack Brown, T. Rick Jones, and David Powell. The show, of course, is supported by people like you through Patreon, and you can find out more about that at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. I will be back next week, of course, with more of the Star Trek news that you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper. Okay, guys. How long was that? Okay, that's not bad. Last week was a little long, so I was trying to keep it a little bit short. All right. So, hi, guys. Thank you for listening to all of that and listening to me ramble. Wow, I'm having a look at the poll. So the question today, if you haven't answered the poll question yet, please go and check that out and do so. The poll question today was, how do you feel about the Borg Queen? What's really funny is right now, the answer, love her, more please, is at 47%. 47. Anyway, we'll come on to that in just 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through and see what people are saying in the chat. I'm really sorry, you guys. I can't read the chat while I'm actually doing the news, which is sad. But, you know. Anne, way back in the chat, says, hey, I might just break down and subscribe to Paramount Plus. Okay, I recommend that you do, or you at least try it out. It has improved a lot since the old days of CBS All Access. It's still, I don't think, the best streaming service out there, but it now has all the features that you come to expect. And of course, I think it's reasonable to expect that eventually it's going to be the place for Star Trek. I personally like it. I've been a CBS All Access / Paramount Plus subscriber for years, just, off my own back. Nobody gives that to me. We are, at this show, we are an affiliate of theirs. So they do give us commission if you sign up through our website. So I just wanted to declare that. If you do want to sign up for Paramount Plus, please do that through our website. If you go to dailystartreknews.com / Paramount Plus, it'll take you straight over there. I keep asking them to do big, special trials and stuff. But to my knowledge, it's still just the week's free trial. I wonder if they're going to do something bigger near the Prodigy launch. You might want to hold off till the Prodigy launch because it's such a big change. And so Prodigy was originally supposed to debut on Nickelodeon, and then they were like, Paramount Plus is so big now, we're actually gonna debut it on Paramount Plus. It's possible that they're going to do some kind of promotional push. I don't know. I obviously haven't heard anything about that. They tell us the day after something happens on the affiliate side. So anyway, yeah, dailystartreknews.com / Paramount Plus. Yeah. Oh, Christoph, thank you about the shirt. I love this shirt so much. I full disclosure, they did send it to me so that I would wear it on the show, but like I picked it out and I love this shirt because it's like in universe. I'm not a huge t-shirt wearer, and you know, but I like it a lot. Yeah. Sergio asks a really good question about the Borg Queen. I think hopefully we'll come back to more of this discussion later. He says, am I allowed to like the character and at the same time dislike the deconstruction of the wonderful concept of not centralized decisions? I think you kind of hit on the crux of the discussion, actually. So we'll come back to that. Yeah, Christoph, I have, I also have read that Picard season 2 is finished. I've heard, and I haven't been able to confirm it yet, that in that same post where they're like, Picard season 2 is finished and we're starting season 3 tomorrow. I haven't been able to confirm that yet, but just FYI, that's out there. Marina says about the Star Trek Prodigy intro, I'm excited that the title sequence covers all the characters visually. Yeah, you know what's really funny is the first time I watched that, I was really confused. I thought, so Rok-Tahg is a really interesting character because they're voiced by 11-year-old little Riley Elazraki, who's tiny. And so that's a fascinating character. And when I first saw the Prodigy trailer, I thought that was like the actual planet that they come from. And that they had just like a giant, like Rok-Tahg shaped mountain or something. And then it was about halfway through that I realized, oh, they're doing a thing. So yeah, let's see. Tim Hands, hello, Alison, and DSTN. Hello, Tim. Yeah, Anne points out very rightly that I would expect that we will hear a lot of official news on official stuff on Star Trek Day. I would not we talked about this at length last week, so I won't go into it too in depth. But yeah, we should hear a premiere date for Prodigy. We might even hear a premiere date for Discovery. We might hear a little bit more about Picard and Strange New Worlds as well. They might even tell us, ooh, spring. I don't know. We'll see. They like to drop big bombs on those days to make it really hard for people like us to try and sift through all the information at once. Woe is me. Woe is us. And Marina, yes, you point out that we're supposed to be seeing Guinan in Picard season 2 as well. I haven't really heard exactly that with it. I mean, it was kind of like it's supposed to happen, but I haven't heard anything concrete, so we'll see. Let's see. Zach has asked a question about the affiliate thing from our affiliate relationship with Paramount Plus is the same relationship as it was with CBS All Access. That's true, but we only get a commission for new signups. So it won't. I don't think it wouldn't have I wouldn't get credit again. It comes with signups, not like ongoing. If you want more information about that, we do have like an affiliate disclosure on our website, and I'd be happy to answer any questions via email. So you can always email me too. Let's see. Okay, right. So one thing that I do want to just let you in on a little secret, since you guys are all here, I did a really fun and amazing interview with a Star Trek celebrity this week that I can't tell anybody about. So, but you'll find out who it is in due course, and I will probably let the patrons know a little early, but I can't tell anybody about it just yet. So, okay. Anyway, yeah. So let's talk about the Borg Queen. Let's talk about this lady, right? So, the poll. You guys are the worst. The poll question was, okay. I'm ending the poll. The poll question was, do you like the Borg Queen? Actually, it's disappeared from my chat. I don't know where it went now. The poll question was basically, oh, here we go. How do you feel about the Borg Queen? And the answers were, love her, more please, or leave her in the past. I will tell you my answer first, and then we can, and it came out 50-50. So that tells me nothing. My personal feeling on the Borg Queen is that I wish that she never existed. She's fine. Once they made the decision to put a Borg Queen in Star Trek, I think the execution of that has actually been very good. She's a very menacing character. She was good in First Contact. And, I know that there's a lot of people who like her. The actors who have played her have been amazing. I actually saw Alice Krieg on a panel at Destination Star Trek in 2016, and she was just wonderful. And so, from that perspective, I like the Borg Queen, but man, I wish I could go back in time and stop the person who made that decision from going through with that decision. Because in my opinion, the Borg were a much more interesting and menacing sort of villain when they were a collective. When it was, you could literally kill thousands of them and they wouldn't stop coming because they were all the same. I thought that setup provided a lot of really interesting storytelling possibilities. And by putting a queen in there, it just becomes Independence Day. But I will say that I loved the thing that they did in Picard, where she plugs in and she's like, I'm the queen of this cube or whatever. I can't remember exactly what happens, but I love the fact that there is that kind of mechanic now. And now that they've committed to it, I'm okay with it. So let's see. So let's see what you guys had to say. Dr. Mohammed Noor, who aren't you supposed to be in Georgia? Anyway, has said, I love it if they have her be more than two-dimensional. Yeah, I don't know what they can do with that character. She's basically a queen bee, a queen ant. That's all she does. How do you expand that character, given the history and what we know of the Borg? I think they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with that one, but that's me personally. Marina has said something very interesting. She says, here's something I always thought. We don't know exactly what the Borg Queen is. The only entity that explains what she is the Borg Queen herself. She could be a virus in the collective. Now that is I would accept that retcon. I would accept that as an answer, because we know that viruses can be made to affect the collective, and that would be interesting. Let's see. Sergio, further to what he was saying before, the character is extremely well built and portrayed by the actor. I just wish they created her as a manifestation of the resultant of a collective decision. That's another interesting way to retcon that, and not as a hierarchical superior. Very cool. And so here's a question for you. They've cast, so both Alice Krieg and Susanna Thompson, I believe her name was, were a little older actors when they portrayed the Borg Queen, and Annie Wersching is much younger in appearance. And I'm kind of curious, do we think that this is going to be the real Borg Queen, or a real Borg Queen? Or is this all going to be happening in Picard's now, robot psyche or whatever's going on? Even Alice Krieg was older than Alice Worshing is now when she did it back in First Contact, although presumably, and does the Borg Queen age? It's interesting, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with it. We'll see. Yeah, Marina says the reason why a virus comes to my mind is precisely because manifestations of the Queen have been killed multiple times. She still pops up like a jack in a box. I like that visual. That's good, especially if you pair that description with the bit in it's in First Contact where she just has the spine. Gross. Wow, you guys are carrying on with the discussion. Okay, so Christoph says Voyager only destroyed a part of the transwarp network and maybe one of the bigger Borg hubs. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I want to say goodbye to Sergio. Sergio is in Europe, so thank you very much for tuning in, because that is a big time difference from where you are. So bye, Sergio. So you see what's happening right now is that you guys are going off on a discussion with a lot more knowledge of the Borg than I personally have. I'll be honest with you that as soon as the Borg Queen came onto the scene, it kind of turned me off the Borg, and I haven't watched that whole sort of segment of Voyager because I'm really not interested. So maybe I'm going to need to go back and watch some of that so that I understand better what's going to happen in Star Trek Picard. We'll see. Anyway, right, we've been on for 36 minutes, and I got to go shopping. I got to go buy a bench. So it's been wonderful to see you all. Thank you all for joining in the chat. Thank you all for joining in the poll and listening to me witter on about the Borg Queen. We'll be back next week. These are fun, and in the meantime, please, send me pictures of your Star Trek show and tell. I'd love to see parts of your collection. Right. I just want to thank a few people before I go. I know I already thanked them in the main show, but also Marina, who's in the chat. David was in the chat. I don't know if he still is. Also our other writers, Chris, T, and Jack. They keep this show going during the week. And of course, if you're missing the daily show or the daily podcast, please make sure you sign up for the Daily Star Trek newsletter at dailystartreknews.com/contact, because it still comes to your inbox daily. You still keep up with the news, but it's just not with my face on it. So yeah, thank you to everybody, especially the Patreon supporters who keep us going. And we will be back. Me, the royal we, I don't know, we'll be back next week. Thank you again for coming, and live long and prosper.